cargo, passenger. So one of the first passenger aircrafts on record, which is surviving today, is KLM. KLM just last 2 years celebrated their 100 years in industry. They're one of the first guys to venture. Then British Airways, but in those days it was called Imperial Airways in those days. They came 1924, KLM came 1919. So we had all these things, airlines also creeping into the system. Then the late 1920s, then we started having what you call regulation, because it looked like before that time, everybody was flying and doing anything he wanted, entering into other people's airspace, no permission. Everything was kind of haphazard because we're still in the evolution and learning phase. So the late 1920s onwards, then we had the regulation period, whereby countries came together to agree on safe and comfortable aviation. And that's what you hear, things like the Chicago Convention, the Paris Convention. That convention, it was all to kind of, standardize the way we operate. And the history goes on and on and on. And you said I should tell you about Ghana. Yes. Ghana and Africa, interestingly, we started creeping into this system from the 1950s. Interesting, somewhere around the 1950s, when we're still under colonial rule, we kind of started to creep into this whole history of things. So we had our Ghana Air Force, then we had our Ghana Airways, the precious national asset, which died so sadly some time back. But Ghana Airways came to existence in 1958 and existed for 48 years. So Ghana too can celebrate so many pioneers, the first 4 who were trained by Kwame Nkrumah. And even in the Air Force, there's also an interesting history. We celebrated somebody like that about 7 years ago. By 1964, Ghana Air Force started training ladies. So there were 3 ladies who went to the Air Force to be trained as pilots, Squadron Leader Melody Dankwa and their 2 other colleagues. So Ghana came, started creeping into this whole thing from 1950. And from then, hence, we've chalked a lot of successes. We still celebrate the first, if I say the pilots surviving. Some of them have survived, some of them have popped off. And like I said, overall, the industry got better with time. The industry, just like any human being or anything, has had its fair share of excitements, evolutions, hijacking, which almost came to destabilize it, economic downturns in nations that turned the airline upside down. The industry as a whole, up until today, has seen everything that everyone needs to see. Terrorism, I don't even know what next they'll need to see. We just got out of a pandemic. So to cut a long story short, 118 years from the Flyer 1 aircraft that could stay afloat for 12 seconds to today that we have aircraft which even have showers for, excuse me to say, politicians and everything. 118 years, so much has happened. And trust me, appreciating this history is very good for anyone who really wants to be part of it, because it didn't just wake up and just happen like that. And that's what I was telling you. Later that airports came into the scene, later that we had aviation schools, later that we had professors, later that we had all these aeronautical engineers, regulation, all these things came later. Now we have aircraft which are double-decker aircraft. Remember, I told you the first aircraft, the pilot himself didn't have a seat. So there was no provision for, but today you can go to a cockpit, you can see it's spacious, it's this. And we've evolved all over them from using analog technology of navigation to today's what we call glass cockpit navigation, which is a modern technology and all these things. So this 118 years of this rich aviation history. For the sake of time, I would have gone into details, but I think this should be, I think I've done justice enough to it.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, Captain. So there's been a whole evolution within the space of 118 years. And Ghana is privileged to be part of the remaining 68 years since the Wright brothers introduced the first aircraft, the Flyer 1. I think Ghana has done well. It's just that we don't have a national carrier anymore, but all in all, I believe that our aviation industry is still thriving, where we have 2 domestic carriers, we have other private airlines who indulge in charters, and then we have international carriers who fly into Ghana through our Kotoka International Airport as well. Thank you so much for the history, where 1 aircraft was able to maintain equilibrium 12 seconds before coming down, to now where we have the A380s who are double deckers and all. The aviation industry is really an interesting industry. Why do you think Ghana has to celebrate this 118 years of aviation industry? Is it important? Because from your history, Ghana is just like 68 years in the history, as part of the history. So is it important for us to be part of it? Or do we need to celebrate a special one for Ghana instead of wanting to celebrate the Wright brothers in quotes for 118 years? I see that Captain has dropped off. Hello, Captain, are you back on? All right, from the comment section, Captain Amoah is saluting. Okay, Victoria Abnatechi is saluting Captain Amoah, but Captain is not on the call, he's dropped off. Please, if you have any questions you would like to ask Captain, kindly put it in the chat box, and when he joins again, we would ask that question. But I hope you've all been engaged with how Captain has explained the evolution of the aviation industry from the Wright brothers till now. It is very interesting. A lot of people out there think aviation is all about the airline industry, but Captain has made us aware that the aviation industry is a huge industry made up of 4 kits. And those 4 kits, there is the aerospace, we have the airport and air navigation, we have the airlines, and then we have the general aviation. If we understand this part of the aviation industry, it would make it very easy for us to make a decision before you say, I want to be. If you know that aviation is not about airlines, a lot of people will start thinking beyond the pilot phase, beyond the cabin crew phase. Because if you want to be in the aviation industry, there are a lot of careers within the industry, which Captain has made us aware. Thank you so much. Captain has rejoined again. Hello, Captain, are you back on? Hello, Captain. He's gone off again. Oh, okay. All right. Captain is back. Pardon us. We all know how our networks behave during the rainy season. Hello, Captain.
Yeah, Lizzie, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for rejoining. Yes. Victoria Abnatechi says, kudos to you. She salutes you.
I think
yeah, so when you went off the call, I was reiterating what you have said so far and letting our audience know how big the aviation industry is, where it is not limited to just airlines. Hello, Cap.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm listening.
Okay, so before you went off, we were discussing why Ghana must participate in this celebration of the 118 years on December 17th. Is it necessary? Because during what you have said so far has made us aware that Ghana is just 68 years in the 118 years. So why must we participate in 118 years when we don't even know, or we were not even part of that history? Won't it be okay if we just celebrate our 68 years? I'm sure that that 68 years will be a different date. Why is it necessary to be part of a history that we are not aware of or were not part of?
Okay, first of all, I want to reverse that perception that a history that we are not part of. Let me start by saying that aviation industry analysts, that's global or not only Ghana, aviation industry analysts think that if the Wright brothers didn't do what they did on 17 December 1903, we won't be where we are today in terms of aviation, you understand? It is what they did that, like I said, led to the era of daredevils, then the daredevils to World War One, then World War One, those surviving aircraft being converted to cargo and passenger. Then it went on and on, then to regulations, the next thing we saw, most countries started owning airlines. There are so many things we talk about in airline marketing called deregulation, because at one point in time, airlines used to belong to governments. Then it got to a certain point in time in 1978, the American government started deregulating. All they just did was, okay, allow private people to come and compete and etc. So if we say we are not part of the beginning, then that means we are not even appreciating what has even brought us where we are. Whether you like it or not, the aviation industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, whether you like it or not. Number two, the aviation industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry because it doesn't have any alternative. When I say it doesn't have any alternative, you can't go and stand a circle and go and look for a New York-bound trotro. It won't happen. Even if it would, it will get you there in about 3 years or something. And you can't compare 3 years to 10 hours, maybe if you had gone by a direct flight or something. So we should be part of the beginning because it was these two brothers' experiment that has brought us to where we are anyway. And remember, it all started off like a hobby between two people, then a few people of the daredevils. Before now, passengers and everybody is benefiting from the industry. It's creating jobs, and it's not only creating jobs for those of us inside the four subjects, any of the four sectors I mentioned, but it creates jobs for people outside. Remember, so if let's say you have a restaurant and I earn my income, I come and spend at your restaurant, don't I? And if you have a hairdressing salon and the ladies in the industry earn their income, they come and spend the money, in your salon. So we've realized that, Charlie, everybody has benefited from what the Wright brothers did on 17th December 1903, because it didn't only end up as a hobby today, but it has even ended up as even some countries' only GDP. Ethiopia is a case in point. Okay. Now, Ghana Airways, I came to meet Ghana Airways in the last maybe dying years, the last 10 years, etc. It didn't do so bad in terms of creating jobs and, flying people to destinations and all the good things. It wasn't bad. Of course, we all know lapses here and there that led to the demise, but it didn't mean that it was a bad case right from day one. No, that one I'll argue against it. It exposed so many people. For some of us who in our time, we didn't have YouTubes to look at videos and things in the past, the only way you had to experience aviation was to go to the airport. And the only way to go, when you go to the airport, the only way to keep experience is to see the planes take off and land, which I did in my very youthful days, and meet pilots. That was the only way of knowing aviation in those days. And I can tell you, Ghana Airways has contributed a lot to the country, a lot to some the ex-employees, a lot to so many other people who don't even matter in aviation. Are you okay? So, but like I'm saying, everything we are experiencing now should be linked to what the Wright brothers did on 17 December 1903. So if you want to celebrate your history separately, fine. But always, it is very good to link this celebration, once you're in the industry, to link it to 17 December 1903. Because I'm not the one who is saying it's aviation's birthday. It's industrial analysts looking at the history, what happened after them, people trying to outcompete them and everything. And where we are today, I think it will be unfair if we dissociate ourselves from the Wright brothers' history. We are where we are today because of them, whether you like it or not. Number two, the aviation industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Number three, Ghana's existence since the 1950s has also brought a lot of impact to ourselves as a people, the nation's economy, etc. I hope I have not digressed. Hello?
Hello, Captain, no, you've not digressed. Thank you very much for your explanation. I now understand the reason why we need to celebrate the 118 years with the Wright brothers. May their souls rest in peace. I hope everyone on call today is also assured of the reason why we need to celebrate this birthday on the 17th of December. Any lover of aviation must appreciate the fact that if not for the Wright brothers, we wouldn't be here today. Captain. Hello, Captain.
I'm with you.
All right. Before we move on to the next question, is it possible to show us your face, as some of us on the call don't know who you really are? Captain is an airline captain and an aviation mentor for kids, teens, and the youth. If you don't know who Captain Amoah is, kindly see his face now. Captain, we can just see your head and your forehead.
Yeah, okay. Has it come well now? I'm trying to adjust myself.
Yes. So this is Captain Victor Amoah. He's our guest today, and he's telling us, he's educating us. He's trying to imbibe the love and passion of aviation in us today. Wherever you see him, you need to appreciate that he's been part of the aviation industry in Ghana, and he wants others to also join so that the industry does not die with one generation or the other. Thank you, Captain, for showing your face.
Thank you for accepting my face.
Yes, I've seen a flyer going around stating that you have a celebration on the 17th of December. How do you intend to celebrate this 118th anniversary of the Wright brothers?
Okay. All right. First of all, I just want to let you understand that every year I used to do press events trying to educate the public through the media. That's the newsprint media. This time we have decided to, or I've decided to divide Ghana into 3 zones while we celebrate this aviation's 118 years. So Ghana will be divided, as far as the celebration is concerned, Ghana will be divided into 3 zones. The first zone we'll have is the Savannah zone. That's the northern sector to take care of the northern, upper east, northeast, upper west regions, and the Savannah region itself. Okay, so, and the middle belt or the middle sector will be for Ashanti and Brown Ahafo and maybe some parts of the eastern region and everything. Then we have the southern belt, which will have Accra and most of the coastline, you know, if I should say cities or towns. It's not a big thing. I mean, I don't want to look at it like it's a very big thing per se, but it's going to be very interesting. What we decided to do, let me start off with the Savannah zone so that people understand it better. They will have theirs on the 21st December 2021. 21st December 2021. Basically, it will be airport tours, the Tamale Airport, the tour of the Tamale Airport. Then one of us, if I just say, we'll be celebrating one of us. He's not an aviation person per se, but he's an aviation enthusiast who has built an aviation museum in the north. Okay, that's in Tamale. So when our people visit the airport for the airport tour, the question is, what are you going to the airport to do? Are you only going to look at planes? No, you are not only going to look at planes, but you are going there to go and see what the airport's contribution and impact to the aviation industry is all about. I talked about air navigation services. You may get some insight as to what they do there and how they do it. Are there any careers there to, you know, pursue, etc. All these things. So the northern side starts with an airport tour and going to see what the airport is about in this whole aviation scheme of things. And from there, they will have the opportunity to visit the aviation museum I was telling you about. One of us, a very good aviation, if I say fanatic, has built an aviation museum. And it's also good to go there and go and see the planes that have served the industry, that has brought us to where we are today. They may look funny by sight, you know, by sight as you look at these planes, but they have rich history, and they will tell you, I mean, you'll get to know how these planes have served the industry and has brought this industry to where we are today. So There'll be an aviation museum tour. Then the last part, that's part 2B, would be they'll go to another aviation facility, which is also set up by one of us. Name withheld for some time, but the place is called Pegasus Aviation, where they'll go and see what you call flight simulations. I'll just tell you a little bit about simulators so that flight simulation thing will make some sense. You know, as aviation was evolving and air safety was being improved, we have a device called the simulator device. That's for pilots. We have a device called the simulator device where you get into that feels like an aeroplane. That's why it's called simulator. It feels like an aeroplane, behaves like an aeroplane. And we use this device to practice emergency drills and, you know, how to react towards these emergency drills using a set of procedures. So it will be fun for people to go there, whether you want to be a pilot or not, to come and understand how this device has contributed to the safety that we are in today. So that place, you go and have some fun with their simulator device, and also go and even understand the dynamics of flight. When you go to the Pegasus Aviation, they have so many things to show us apart from the simulator. They can even demonstrate to you how aircrafts fly. How do they sustain themselves afloat? They have all these devices that they will use to enlighten us on, you know, because that day, remember, we are celebrating aviation. We are not doing anything outside aviation. We are celebrating this industry. So you get to see all these devices that has been part of and continues to be part of the 118-year history. So, like I said, the northern sector, the Savannah zone, and the upper east, northeast, the northern region itself, that day is going to be in 2 parts, or let's say 3 parts. Part 1, airport tour. Then part 2A, the museum tour. Part 2B, Pegasus Aviation. Pegasus Aviation, like I said, is a place too where those who even want to be pilots, those who want to be engineers should go there from time to time and even apply some of these devices, you know, if I say get themselves used to some of these devices. So like I said, that's what the northern sector will see, or the Savannah sector will see on that day. When we come to the middle belt, the middle belt, that's anywhere Kumasi, I mean, that's Ashanti region, the Brong-Ahafo, the Bono East and everything. It will be held at Kumasi in 2 parts. There will be an airport tour bit of the Kumasi airport, the same thing, going to appreciate what airports contribute, I mean, airports' contribution to this industry and the whole scheme of things, and how they provide safety for even the aircrafts that fly. Then part 2B is Kumasi Atland. It's another place where we've rented for the events, part 2B, Kumasi Atland, where so many things will be exposed to them. So many aviation things will be exposed to them. And also we have some aviation events for 2022, which will be done also in the northern side. I missed that one at 2022. At Pegasus Aviation, after you've gone to see what they have for us, we are also going to launch some programs, which I'm telling you about. The program is going to be, we have some quiz programs, aviation quiz programs between the ages of 5 to 12. How are we going to do it to celebrate aviation's 120th birthday? That is December 2023. We are working ourselves from that day to December 2023. How are we going to launch the program? You will get there, you get to see it. Both sides, whether you are in the northern side or in the middle side, you also get to see that one, how we're going to launch that program for ages 5 to 12. We're also going to launch programs for teens called the Aero Teens Camp. So all this will be taking place during these celebrations, whether in the north or in the middle side. Okay, so we are going to launch a set of aviation programs there for 2022 and beyond, because bear in mind, 17 December 2023, aviation will be 120, that's 120 years. So we'll be launching some programs as we work ourselves from that time to 2023. So the southern part, here we are going to we are partnering with one of our sponsors, that's Star West Aviation Academy. Star West, we're going to the Afienya airstrip. You'll be bused to the Afienya airstrip. And here going the same thing. This, as for the Afienya airstrip, the only difference is that because it's 17 December, so let me backtrack a bit. The northern sector is going to be 21st December. The middle sector is going to be Saturday, 11th December. And the southern sector is going to be the birthday itself at Afienya airstrip. Our listeners are free to enroll and register whichever place they want to find themselves. But basically, if you want to have a flight experience, or if we call it a flight discovery, to look at how how the airplanes fly itself. Some people don't even have an idea of what training aircrafts look like. I mean, you may have an idea of what the passenger aircraft looks like, but if you want to have an idea of what training aircraft looks like and how to be in them for these flight discovery rides, then the best place to come is to come to the Afienya airstrip on 17 December, because in addition to what I've mentioned in the rest of the places, Afienya will have the flight rides and discoveries in addition to what I've mentioned. So basically, yes, it's going to be, if I should say, a low-key, I mean, for lack of a better expression, a low-key celebration, but people should enroll and position yourself in any of these places that you want to be. But if you want to experience the flight discovery, for this year alone, we are doing it at the Afienya airstrip. And I'm sure you'll be guided on how to get yourself there. And just come and have an experience and feel how it feels like. You know, we are celebrating aviation and everything that goes with it, not only planes per se. We are celebrating aviation. There will be also some career mentoring sessions for those who want to choose their subjects at the JHS or SHS level. There will also be so many things. You will get some opportunity to meet some of these industry players, I mean, to share ideas and to network with. And like I said, it's going to be a simple day, but simple and sweet. I'll expand a little bit on the history in all those places I've mentioned, the history, because everything I've told you so far are just summaries, and I did it 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. But some of them I'll go a little bit deep. For example, how did the airport come about? It also has its set of history that if we say we are going to discuss now, we'll be here for 6 months. But yeah, so like I said, on that day, it's going to be a mixture of everything. The only difference is that if you want to experience the flight discovery, then that one, you have to be at the Afienya airstrip, and I'm sure you'll be guided how to do it.
Okay. So if you want to be part of the flight tour, you have to come to Afienya on the 17th of December.
Yes, right. Because you have the flight experience in addition to the other things that I was talking about in the other sectors. Hello?
Hello, Captain.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you explain a bit on the flight tour? What is a flight tour? Because a lot of people have heard flight tour, but they don't understand what it is. Can you please explain it further? In just 2 minutes, let us know what a flight tour is all about. But before Captain proceeds, as you can see on the screen, this is a place in Tamale. When Captain was explaining the program for the Before You Say I Wanna Be 2021, he made mention that the audience or the people who will come for the program will be taken on a tour to a place in Tamale. And this is the place. This place belongs to Ibrahim Mahama, the artist. He's an enthusiast of the aviation industry. And those who know about Starbow Airlines, Amtrak Airlines, and the other airlines which have gone different. In the pictures, I don't know if you'll be able to locate which type of planes, but these planes were towed from Accra to the north. These planes were towed from Accra to the north by this aviation enthusiast, and he's using it to mentor the next generation of aviators. He's using this to mentor the next generation of aviators. So anyone who participates in this program, it will go a long way to help someone out there. As you can see on the screen, please, the previous slide. They are being taught what a plane is all about, how to identify a plane. This plane, I believe, Captain Amoah, can you help me? This plane, which airline did this plane belong to?
This one, to be honest, maybe it was resprayed because I can't see the logo or anything. Maybe it was resprayed, but okay. I have no clue from the way I'm viewing it here. But you see, that's the beauty of them participating and registering in this, because on that day, they are going to have an in-depth information about the aircraft itself. The whole idea is the aircraft itself and how many people have even used it. We may even get a history of those who even used it before the Ghanaian person or the person, or how it came to Ghana. How did it before it came to Ghana? So yes, for now, yes, I think you've done justice to explaining the Red Clay Museum. The place called the Red Clay Museum.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And this Red Clay Museum belongs to Ibrahim Mahama, the artist. All right, Captain, we have a question in the chat. Please, do you have any program for kids 5 years and above? Please, do you have any program for kids 5 years and above? Because as you were explaining the program, you said you were going to have a teens camp. But I believe that 5-year-olds are not teens yet. So do you have a program for those children and above?
Yes, please. 5 years to 12 years, we are going to launch a program for them called the Aero Quiz 2023, dubbed Headwinds, Crosswinds. It's a quiz competition, which the climax of it will be when we are celebrating 120 years in the industry. God give us life. And we are going to launch it on that day, wherever you will be, whether you are on the northern side or the middle or the southern side. One of the programs we'll be launching even before the teens camp is the Aero Quiz 2023. We are going to tell you where we are going to get the information, all the things that the children need to learn, and how they can how they can participate in this quiz program, and the eliminations that will go on to 2023 when we come with the national, if I should say, finalists or the finals of the competition, the national event itself, 17 December 2023, God willing. So yes, there are programs for 5 years to 12 years. That's the Aero Quiz 2023, dubbed Headwinds, Crosswinds. Then for the teens camp, then we have people for the post-SHS program. So almost that day we'll be launching programs for all these 3 brackets.
Oh, okay. So we have post-teens.
Yes.
Okay, so post-teens, i.e. from 18 and above.
Or then those who have finished SHS.
Those who have finished, okay, SHS. So those who have finished SHS, we are looking at people from the ages of, say, 17 years and above.
Yes, and also the SHS post-teens covers post-SHS, tertiary undergrads, tertiary graduates themselves, and those who are in other industries who want to switch, come to work in the aviation industry. We call them, I've just classified them as post-teens.
Okay, all right. So we have 3 categories before the teenage age.
That's 5 years to 12, yes. 5
to 12, middle of the teenage age, 12 yes. to 17, then yes. Post-teenage.
Yes, we'll be launching programs for them. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Then it means that this program caters for everyone.
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it does cater for everyone. Even those who just even want to come and experience what the industry is about. You know, some people don't have a clue about what it is. Apart from seeing an airport and they just go here, okay, if you want to travel, just go to the airport, get your ticket and go. Some people don't really understand what the whole thing we've explained is about, and it's a great opportunity for you to come. Even if you're a businessman or a businesswoman, whatever, I've not restricted it. It's for all, if I say.
All right, thank you very much. As we move on, I'd like to find out, as an aviation mentor, during your introductions, I said you're an aviation mentor who mentors kids, teens, and youth. As a mentor, how do you guide these kids, teens, and youth?
Okay. So far, since 2012, I launched this program called the Aero Summer School. And the Aero Summer School was between the ages of 3 years. We even went as low as 3 years to 12 years, where we divided them into 2 clubs. And during their long vac, we exposed them to some aviation activities just to get them to equip their interest. For example, aviation, art and craft. Somebody say, art and craft, what is the linkage? There's a lot of linkage between art and craft and the industry. So there was a way we showed them things like that. Aviation history, this history I was telling you about, it's a whole volume that people even spend 5 years learning in the university. But we had ways that we broke it down to their level. And that's where we are getting this quiz competition we are going to launch from. Then we used to expose them even to fire education and prevention. And it was very nice to see, in fact, those who come, in fact, all of you come to this event and I'll show you some of those pictures where you see even 3-year-old people fighting fire. You know, I myself at the age of 21, it had to take me a lot of guts and everything to hold an extinguisher, let alone fight the fire. You understand? So it was amazing to let 3-year people and have a go at it. So this Aero Summer School program was something like a 1-month program during their long vac. And we exposed them to some of these things in aviation. They even had airport tours, and they even had plane rides, you know, from Accra to Kumasi, and just city tours for them to just know what flying and tourism is about. So I did it since 2012 to 2016. So that's one way I mentor from 3 years to 12 years. And this program per se is going to continue doing what I've been doing. You know, the pandemic slowed a lot of things down. So we are kind of using this program to relaunch how we're doing it. Now, with the teens, we believe that as you are growing into your formative ages, certain characteristics of an aviator should be, for lack of a better word, injected into you. Certain characteristics of an aviator, for example, time management, working as a team, attention to detail, all these life coaching, if I say life coaching characteristics, we think we have to build it in the teens at that age. Because sometimes when you try to take a 25-year-old person and sometimes you are now going to teach him or her time management, it can be a challenge. Because that person has formed some habits that you may have to kill the person and resurrect him before you put in that this thing. So we believe that the teens camp will take care of things like, because it's going to be a camp where they'll be taken through so many events that inject, forgive my word inject, that inject the qualities of an aviator in that person. So that's how I guide them. When they get to teens level, then it's almost like, okay, enough of the fun. We are having fun, okay, but this time, look, Jack, if I don't put this kind of character in you, I don't think you can be an aviator. Because some people have failed not only flying, piloting course, but maintenance engineering and other professions because of their personality. Something that we're not being able to correct for a long time, you know, and now that's how I'm telling you, go and take someone like 22, you are now going to tell the person how to be punctual. It's not every time that it will succeed, or not, it won't succeed with everybody. So I get to, when they get to the teens level, then I find a way of telling that, you know what, there's a way of doing it. I mean, it's a fun way of doing it. We don't just put them in the classroom and just dump lectures on them, but they get to experience it. Even just being along with their peers and discussing topical issues together has already taught them teamwork already, without coming to lecture them paragraphs and paragraphs of big English, which won't take them anywhere. So, through fun ways in the teens camp, it's only 10 days, through fun ways, they get to learn these characters of an aviator, and not only piloting. And even in that camp, we also expose them to the diverse careers too. We expand on that, telling that, look, flying is not all about captain and the flight attendant, but there are so many professions. So that's with the teens. Now, when they graduate, they graduate plus post SHS or any secondary institution, then there's a time that we allow them to do their tertiary course, whatever they've chosen. But there are some of these aviation management courses they can be doing alongside. We didn't say they should stop what they are doing or they should ignore what they are doing, but there's a way we let them do this alongside their chosen tertiary programs, such that when they graduate, they have their degree of what they chose, plus some of these aviation professional courses. That's for the post-teens, if you want to put it that way, the post-teens. So basically, that's how I've been guiding them, or that's how I intend to guide them, because this industry, upon all the nice things we've said about it, that is a multi-trillion and it's this, the gap here is how to get qualified people to be in it. That's in different careers. That's the gap that, or the challenge that has been with us for, some time now. That gap, how to fill in the place with qualified people who have understood it from childhood. It's just like, you take it like soccer. You know, that kind of soccer craze that people have even as young as maybe 5 years. You know, they know all the lineup of all the Manchester United players, and they know what kind of dress they wear on Thursday, and that is the same craze you have to attach to this industry. This industry, if you're not crazy, I will tell you right from the word go, don't come close. You have to be that crazy the way you were with soccer. So that's how I guide them. I just guide you to be crazy, because I was one myself. You know, even where I've gotten to over 2 decades in industry, anytime I go to a hotel, for example, outside the country, it's near the airport, I always ask for the room facing the runway. Even me, that I've now come to get to do what I'm doing, I mean, that's how mad you have to, everyone has to be in this industry. That's how I've guided them, or that's how I intend to guide them from 3 years to post-teens.
Okay. Thank you very much, Captain. I love your passion for the industry. And I appreciate the fact that even though you're a captain, you have this mentorship session, training them, mentoring them on the other facets that make up the aviation industry. In your submission, you made mention of the pandemic. And almost everyone on this platform knows what the pandemic has done on the aviation industry, especially. Let's discuss the future of the aviation industry in this pandemic in terms of having virtual tours, virtual meetings, conferencing, and other times political and ethnic instabilities. Is the industry worth the investment? If someone wants to invest in the industry, is it worth it?
Okay, that's a very good question, because I've heard these questions a million times, even before the pandemic. Like I think I told you somewhere along the line that, number one, whether you like it or not, the aviation industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, like it or not. In the face of pandemics, in the face of terrorism in certain parts of the world and political instabilities, which try to sometimes dip the whole thing a little bit, it's one of those things we have in life. Okay, so whether we like it or not, it's a multi-trillion industry. Somebody say, prove it to me. And I will prove it to you through reliable and tangible statistics. For example, I told you there's no bus station to go to New York if you want to go today. Even if there were roads over the Atlantic Ocean surf, or there were overhead bridges even, you can imagine how long it would take you to do 3,000 miles. That's all the way to maybe UK, or another 5,000 to US or something. It doesn't have a suitable alternative in terms of time. And number two, whether you like it or not, the air transport industry is the safest form of travel. Everybody will argue with you, but you are in the air. What if you fall down? Are you trying to tell me that when you get an accident in a car, you can't get injured? I mean, it's the same old thing. But whether you like it or not, is the safest by statistics, not my analysis. The safest. So one, it doesn't have an alternative. So it has made it a necessary devil to be in the industry. Even talking about the pandemic you mentioned, do you know that there were still, even though there were lockdowns of countries and people couldn't move around, drugs needed to move around. The vaccines that had come up at that time needed to move around. And trust me, let us even say we grounded all those aeroplanes and decided to move the vaccines by bus, I'm sure by the time the first person gets it, we would have all died. If
would have been dead by now.
By now, yes, that's if we're waiting for that bus to arrive. If we're waiting for that bus to arrive, I mean, before we get the shot, that's those who are vaccinated. So you see that even the pandemic, things were going on. The cargo business was still it was even over vibrant, if there's a word like that. And you realize that some countries too, it didn't take so long. We had to just get out of the pandemic. I mean, we just had to snap out of it. You see, it's not everywhere which has locked down since March 2020. Some people by May 2020, June 2020, we're back. The question is why? Why were we back? Because the thing is that we're not going to allow this pandemic to, make us lock down forever. Things needed to happen. You know, the airports cannot be sitting there like some castle monument forever. No, things had to happen. People needed to travel, whether you like it or not. People needed to go to America for so many reasons and back and forth. Tourism had to happen one way or the other, even though we knew we're in lockdowns. So pandemics, yes, they will just come and disturb us a little bit or disturb the industry a little bit. But the industry has to survive because it's until we found a suitable alternative, just to answer your question, until we found a suitable alternative, that's a bus and a ship that can go to the other side of the destination at the same time that an aircraft will do, this is worth the investment. Plus, if you want to invest in it in terms of building a career, or you want to do business with the industry, you want to come and understand, it is worth the investment because it has no suitable alternative. Last time I checked, a ship from here to the US will be at least a month. Are you okay? And you and I know that you can't compare a month to 10 hours. That's if you want to go even to the eastern side of the US from here. So like I'm saying, in a nutshell, it is worth the investment because it does not have a suitable, and I don't see it having a suitable alternative in the next 20 years. It is true. Chinese I've heard from this now, are trying to build a railway that will go under the water, whatever, and get to New York. It still doesn't close the gap between New York and here. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't close. Building a railway that can go under the Atlantic Ocean is good, but it does not close the gap. That's distance-wise. So air travel will always continue to get there before the rail, even though they want to make it a fast rail or they want to do. I mean, nothing can compete with the air transport industry, and the air transport industry is also essential because people need to move across back and forth to wherever they are going. And like I said, just because it doesn't have competition and it's an essential service, it is worth the investment. And this is why we are exposing people like this to the industry.
The industry. Thank you very much. I hope we've all now understood the reason why Captain says it's worth the investment, because aviation does not have a competitor. The aviation industry, as he said in his earlier submissions, is the safest and fastest form of transport in the whole world. No one has been able to compete with that fact. So Captain is telling us that if you want to invest, try investing in the aviation industry, whether there is a pandemic, whether it's by terrorist attacks or whatever. Investing in the aviation industry will be worth your while. There is a comment on our YouTube platform from Isaac Ayuram. Isaac is a former staff of Amtrak. Captain, you remember Isaac, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so he's on the platform now.
There's so many Isaacs, but I know everybody. Or I remember everybody.
There's Isaac Anku.
Yes, I do remember him.
So he's saying that he thinks we should have an aviation degree program in our universities. Ghana needs to incorporate it in the university programs. What is your take on that?
That's very true. But initially, where we've gotten to now, initially we need to get the professional courses first, and that's what I do with the post-teens bit of thing. In the post-teens thing, I was telling you that we allow them to have some of these professional courses alongside what they've chosen in their tertiary programs. So I think my view is that we need the the aviation professional courses first. For example, some people may graduate and say, oh, I have BSc admin. So they think in their mind's eye that they can fit in the corporate world, that's the airline corporate environment. But something is missing. The missing thing is the airline product. If you want to sell an airline product, the industry also has its professional courses, for example, called airline marketing. Irrespective of the fact that whether you have a degree or a master's in marketing in university, that's fine. I'm not saying it's useless. So that's why we encourage people to do something like airline marketing alongside your degree. So you get to understand how to sell an airline product, because selling an airline product is one of the most tricky things under the sun, to sell an airline product. Okay. So we have some of all these professional courses there. We even have a professional course called airport operations. How to, work in certain aspects of the airport and what certain aspects of the airport do. We all have all these professional, that's the IATA, the National Air Transport Association courses. Most of them, they're wasted. Of course, in the past in Ghana, some people have taken courses in maybe ticketing and reservation, but it's only just one of the 400 programs we have. We also have programs in even travel agency marketing, because you and I know that all these things are there. We also have what we call auditing, even to safety auditing, safety management. So I always advocate that people should have their professional courses first. Then later, slowly, we'll bring it. Oh, it's not like we won't bring it. Oh, we will bring it. I won't say me, but I'm trying to say that it will be brought, and put that way. It will be brought, but let us focus on the professional courses first, because the professional courses are more hands-on. They are more hands-on, and we need more of these hands-on in the different departments of an airline or an aviation setup. We need the professional courses gives you the hands-on experience, whatever you need for the day-to-day things. Then later, the degrees come, because the degrees will come later I think when so many people have gotten the professional courses, these IATA programs, which we do for the post-teens, then we'll start introducing the degrees and the masters. But at the end of the day, we want to give it to people who will come and use it for what it is intended. Yeah.
All right.
So Isaac, tell us it will come.
All right, Captain. Thank you. So Isaac, it will come. If not now, very soon. As a Ghanaian politician, when I tell you soon, then it's soon. Yes. But it will definitely come. Thank you, Captain. It's been an hour of enlightenment messages from you. I can't wait to be part of the Before You Say I Want to Be program. Before I give you the chance to tell us how we can register for this program, I'd like to open the call out to our audience. In case someone has a question, a contribution, kindly raise your hand and then you'll be called to give your submissions. As you raise your hand, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. David Edu Bediakun of Ghana Airports Company Limited. Hello, Dave. Hello.
Hello, Lace. Sorry, I was on mute. Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon. I hope all is well. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation so far. Since you are coming from the Ghana Airports Company Limited, can you tell us something small within a minute of how the airports infuse themselves as part of the aviation industry?
Oh, Lace, put right on spot. I think Captain made a very good submission, so I don't really need to add anything or anything more to it. He said it all.
Okay. All right, sir. Okay, thank you.
But no, I think you're going to ask a question, so please go ahead.
All right, so when Captain was making his submissions, he said that the airport parts will come in another conversation, and we are hoping that he will join us next week to talk about the airports. Please, we would also like to have you on board since you are on ground. You know, we'll love to have an on-ground feel of what is happening at the airports and how Ghana Airports is making itself felt in the aviation industry.
Okay, I think we'll talk more about this later on. Definitely would like to make a submission about what Ghana Airports company is doing to the development of the aviation industry in the country and in West Africa as a whole. So surely we will give you something on that.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Please, do we have anyone on the call who wants to ask a question or contribute to this discussion before Captain puts his concluding remarks? Okay, I have Isaac. Hello, Isaac.
Yeah, listen.
Welcome to the Aviation Canteen Show. Captain is listening to you.
Hey, Capito.
Yes, sir.
Abi.
Adeo.
Long time.
Isaac, Ade.
Okay. Just a quick one. Okay. I mean, from where you are, all that you have presented is a very good and noble idea, which I think no one has started initially, but you have started this, which for me has give us a brighter future for the next upcoming generation in aviation. Sorry, my background is a bit noisy because I'm in the office. But the challenges here is having the aviation courses in the universities, because over here, sometimes we do have some people who are coming as a graduate from Australia, for example, who have gone through the aviation course training in the university as a graduate. When they come like that, they come in as a graduate related program staff. Okay, they have studied everything in aviation, including maintenance, including ground operations, flight operations. So when they come like that, you can realize that they are well equipped as compared to some of us who are coming with the professional courses. That's why I was looking at it that if Ghana could incorporate that into the university or tertiary programs, then it can also build us capacity-wise and also reduce some of the costs involved in some of the courses that we take, because I and you know that the IATA courses are a bit quite high, ranges from 2,000 and above. So if they should have it in the university whereby we can study it as a program for 3 years, 4 years, then by the time you come out, you are, properly built and properly prepared for the market. That is my suggestion to it.
Okay, Isaac. Well, well noted. There are no arguments. Initially, what I was just trying to say was to solve a now problem that we have around for airlines to start with the professional courses first. And in fact, I have a program. I have, if I say something to address what we're talking about cost-wise, because that has been a challenge for a very long time. The costs. Okay, so yes, it's well noted, and you see through our events that we'll be doing from December how we've tried to address that issue. Of course, it's very expensive, it's true, and that turns a lot of people away. But we've come up with something to address that. Thank you so much, and I can see you enjoying yourself in the other side of the world.
No enjoyment to no place like home.
I know it's you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And Isaac, to your question, I think that your idea is a very laudable idea. Because now what I've realized is that when most of the airlines are recruiting, they say minimum requirement, a degree. So I asked myself that the aviation industry only trains people for professional certification. Where would these aviators or would-be aviators get an aviation degree from? And when you look at the requirements, it says minimum requirements, a degree from any university or any other courses. It does not pinpoint you having a degree in aviation. Does that mean that the professional courses that we do are not important anymore? But these questions, I hope, will be answered in our next meeting. For now, let's try and then bring concluding remarks to this meeting. It's been 1 hour of wonderful conversations throughout. This is the Aviation Canteen Show. My name is Elizabeth Chumwasas, your host for today. And we are having a discussion with Captain Amoah on Before You Say I Wanna Be 2021. Captain, please tell us how we can register for this program and then add your concluding remarks to it.
Okay, I think as for the registration side, for me, I like to mentor. So I think they can contact the numbers which are on the screen or which will be given to them. That's on how to register and enroll to be part of this December program. And once I meet you there, my duty is to do the mentor, so they can do that. But before then, I think you asked one question, which I think I forgot to address way before this, about what the flight discovery is about. I mean, people don't have a clue about what the flight discovery is about, which, yes, it's just simple. Like I told you, some people just know the big airlines, whether you live close by the airport or not, or you've flown in aircraft before. But some people have never flown in the training aircraft before. They've never done it before. They don't know. The feeling is different. Very exciting, but they're a different feeling. So it's just basically, we have the 15 minutes, if I say flight experience. You are just going to go, it's something we call around, let me put it to layman's language, around the Afenia airport. You can opt for the 15 minutes ride, which comes at a certain cost, and they will be guided as they make their contact. Then we have the 30 minutes ride. It's up to you to opt for which one you want on that day. Just for you to see how it feels, especially those who want to be pilots, flight dispatchers, even engineers. You just have a feeling. You see, like I said, that day, we are also trying to make it look like what it felt like on December 17, 1903. So that's what the flight ride is just about. Just, a ride around the airport. Then you see the procedures for takeoff. That one, you are seeing it just in front of you. It's not like you are going to sit in the cabin where you won't see the cockpit. The whole flight training experience, aircraft is like a car already. That thing itself is like a car. So the instructor is just ahead of you or to your side. and you get to see everything, what it feels like as they train people. And you know, there's a Star West are based at the Afienya airstrip. You get to see what training in aviation is like, because now I think they want to train engineers and everything. You go to the hangar itself. But the flight experience, like I just told you about, there are two things that our audience can opt for: either the 15-minute ride or the 30-minute ride. It's up to them which one they want to, provided they pay in advance. We can book it in advance. Yes, it's up to them to choose which one they want and just have a feel of what it looks like. This one, you're going to sit in a plane with the instructor almost beside you or ahead of you. And you're going to see what it feels like flying around, enjoying the scenery, looking at the procedures, and see what goes on as people go. And there'll be a lot of that kind of flying activity around the airport on that day already. There will be a lot of it that day. So basically, that's what the flight discovery is about.
Okay, so you made mention of cost. How much would it take someone to participate in the flight tour?
Okay, Lizzie, I think when they contact those numbers that are going to be provided, all that information will be there. You know,
Okay.
that information will be there, and it's up to them to do it fast. And it's not limited to anyone. Let me put it this way. Even 3 years, provided the person is accompanied, 3 years even can enjoy it, because that's the best time to inject. I'm using the word again, inject this excitement to their bones. So it's 3 years, no limitations. All you have to do is just write your name. They'll be furnished with the information. Then we'll sequence them accordingly.
Okay, Captain, kindly give us your concluding remarks.
Okay, like we said, that day we are celebrating aviation. This December issue is celebrating aviation. That's all we are doing. It's not looking like a big picnic or anything. Just come over to these rendezvous that are on your flyers and just come and experience. I always think that you have to know what the industry is about before you put yourself in it one way or the other. Some people may also just want to come and see what it's about and have nothing to do with it later. It's fine. But the reason I do some of these mentoring is that sometimes all the things that sometimes people have, if you listen to people who have gotten themselves in the industry, it's all about hearsay. Hearsay. Oh, if you want to get into the aviation industry, don't wear glasses. Or if you want to come into the aviation industry, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, these are all hearsay. It could be true, it could not be true. But that day, when you are coming to listen to the experts already in the industry, you've gotten first-hand information to make your decision or to have your insights. So I will encourage people to enroll and come to events like this, which is going to enlighten them. You are going to experience what the aviation industry is all about. Then you can make your decision. Do I want to be part of it or do I not want to be part of it? The teams, these are some of the events that will get you to mold you to be the aviator that the world wants you to be. So the teams, don't waste your precious times doing things, other things, but events like this are always important for you to sign on. So everybody, school teachers or school heads, I encourage you to get your pupils or your students to attend events like this and come and listen to things from the experts themselves, not through myths and hearsays. Basically, that's my message. Is very simple. It's worth the investment to be here on this December events, wherever you find yourself.
All right, Captain, thank you very much for gracing today's show. You are on the Aviation Canteen show, and your host is Elizabeth Chumwa-Sasu, talking with Captain Victor Amoah, an airline captain and a mentor, aviation mentor for kids, teens, and the youth. We were discussing, before you say I wanna be 2021, as you can see on the screen, this is the flyer for the program, and the program is divided into 3 parts, where we have one session at the Kumasi Mall on the 11th of December, then the birthday of aviation at the Afienya airstrip in Accra, 17th December 2021. Then the last show will be in Tamale on Tuesday, 21st December 2021. To know more about the program, kindly call these numbers on your screen: 0243-012781 or 055009810 or 0244407938. whatever information you need about the program, kindly ask these people when you get them online, and they would explain it to you. It is worth the investment to come and get to understand what the aviation industry is all about. As Captain explained, there will be other aviators on that day, and they would also explain what it is. And some would even become your mentors. So invest in this program, and we hope to see you all next week, where Captain will tell us the history about the airport, how the airport came about. Thank you, Captain, and thank you all for joining this program today.
Lizzie.
Yes.
Sorry, Captain. I missed one thing. The unfair, I've not acknowledged my sponsors. Star West Academy, Flight Academy at Afienya Airport, Pegasus Aviation, they've given us their space for that day for Pegasus Aviation, GH-Aviation, and also Red Clay Museum. They are all our kind sponsors, but they are the ones running the show. I'm only just doing the presentation. Thank you to all of them, and may God bless their business.
Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to Captain for wanting to do this program to mentor the next aviator so that the aviation industry will survive after our generation. Thank you all for today, and I hope to see you next week. This is the Aviation Canteen Show, and my name is Elizabeth Chumuasasu, your host. Aviation Canteen, we serve it hot. See you next week. Thank you, Abigail, for joining too. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. David Bediako. I hope to see you next week. Thank you to all, and I hope to see you next week. Please invite